Hello everyone, this is Jim McCormick, and for this week 2 video for the D132 class, I'm going to show you some things to help you with the writing of the assignment you do this week, which is to be writing a 1-2 page paper on some of the things you've learned on the web collaboration aspects and the assignments for this week. And so I just want to go over some of the tools and the features of Word to make sure you kind of match the requirements that are in the assignment for this week. So I'm going to go ahead and I will start Microsoft Word on my computer. So at some point you will do the same on your machine. All right, so I've got Word opened up. And at this juncture, before you start writing your paper or any kind of assignment that you maybe do for Rasmussen College or anything else maybe you write going forward, you always want to have an idea in mind, certainly, what you want to do with the text on your document. Do you want to have a single space, double space? What size do you want your margins to be? Are you going to be doing anything else special in the document, inserting tables or graphics or things like that? So you want to have kind of a roadmap in your mind or maybe even written down to help guide you as you write your document or create your flyer that you're creating in Word or anything else you're doing in Microsoft Word. So for this week, you are just writing a standard 1-2 page paper and some of your thoughts and ideas about social media and web collaboration and some of the ideas that get brought up in your reading for this week. So to start off, one thing you have to do with your paper is you want to make sure that it's double spaced. And one way to really ensure that is we want to go to our Home tab. And then in our Home tab, you'll see the ribbon. And so the ribbon, if you haven't really used Microsoft Word much or any other Office programs, we now have a ribbon that really helps control where all our toolbar buttons are at to be able to perform various tasks, whether it's formatting, being able to create footnotes on a research paper, or doing anything else you can do in the program. So in this situation on the Home tab, we'll come over to the Paragraph section area. And here we've got a number of different controls where whether you want to left align some text or center align, we've got some toolbar buttons available where you can kind of just quickly go to these buttons and make that change that you want to on your document. But the other thing, in all these little general areas up here, you've got a little button in the lower right corner that allows you to open up your paragraph dialog box, which allows you to do a number of other things that aren't available on the toolbar buttons up on the ribbon as they're displayed right now. So I'm going to click in this lower right corner and open up this paragraph dialog box. And here it really allows me to do some other fine-tuning on my document as I get started with creating a document. And one thing, as I mentioned right off the bat, is we want to make sure our document is double-spaced. So down here we have a section called spacing, and we want to go ahead and I'm going to choose double here. So as I start to create my text or write my text down or type in my text, I'll be getting double spacing taking place. So I'll write a few sample lines and we'll test that out. Also, there's a spacing that concerns how much spacing you want before or after your paragraph. And I think the directions on the assignment for this week indicated no spacing before or after your paragraphs. So you go ahead and maybe do a hard return and start a new paragraph. Do you want any additional spacing put in besides the double spacing that will take place as you do your hard return? In this case, I'm going to get rid of my additional spacing. So right now, as I create a new paragraph, I would have an additional 10 points, which would be essentially maybe about a line or so that would be down below that paragraph. So I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm just going to use a drop-down button to get down to 0. All right, so now I've got my spacing adjusted. So I'm going to drop out of this dialog box. And at a point like this, you could go ahead and actually start typing out the first portion of your document, certainly. And to start off your first paragraph, I like to tab over a little bit, which will take you over a half inch. So in a double-spaced document, that's a great way to kind of designate when you've got a new paragraph starting off. And I'm just going to type in a few sentences here. And one thing is you're typing out in Word, you've got Word or the text wrap feature. So you get toward that right margin, it'll automatically bring you down to the left or the next line down. So you don't have to worry about hitting a hard return until you actually do a new paragraph. So let me just type out a line or two here. Now you see I had my word wrap, went ahead and did its thing and got me down to the next line. All right, so let's say, and obviously typically in paragraphs you're going to type in more than one sentence to start a new paragraph. But let's say I want to start a new paragraph out of this line, so then I would put in, or just hit my enter key, do a hard return, and you see a double space is me down. I don't have any additional space below that paragraph because I took that away in my paragraph dialog box, and now I get the tab key over and start a new paragraph. And one thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to intentionally misspell a word. And I had a little autocorrect take place there. So I'm going to try to intentionally misspell another word. All right. Now you can see in this sentence, I've got a little red squiggly line that came in under the word sample. And so in this case, the program was not sure about what that word should be, so it wasn't able to autocorrect it. So whenever you see a red squiggly line, you want to go ahead, take a look at that word because it's telling you that there's a misspelling. At least Microsoft Word doesn't have that word in its own dictionary. So the way to handle this would be to right-click and take a look at some suggestions it has. So in this case, it's asking about, do you want to change it to simple or sample? And here, if I want to change it to simple, I just choose simple with my left mouse key, and it takes care of that misspelling. So as you go along and you're creating your document in Microsoft Word, remember the red squiggly lines are telling you you've got a possible misspelling for a word. You see a green squiggly line, that means you've got a grammar issue. You may have a subject-verb disagreement. You maybe have a sentence fragment, and you're indicating that it should be a complete sentence. So you've got a number of different things that can happen with grammar. And so that'll, again, be annotated by a green squiggly line underneath your sentence. So be aware of those lines, and you should never have those lines really showing up after you have a completed document that you're going to turn in. So always be careful about that. All right, now the other thing that we want to take a look at is what are our margins? So I think the directions talk about having a 1-inch margin, top, bottom, left, right. So to take care of our margins, we are going to take a look at the page layout tab. So I'll come up here, it's 2 over from the home tab. I will click on the page layout tab. You'll notice as I click on that, my ribbon area will change with a number of new buttons and command bar, toolbar buttons showing up on my ribbon. And over here in the page setup area is my margins button. So I can click on that, and you can see I've got some different settings that are predetermined on here that I can actually just click on and actually establish those margins. So a normal setting would be the 1-inch margins, top, bottom, left, right. I've got a narrow one, which gives me a 1/2-inch margin, top, bottom, left, right, and so on. Or you can actually customize your own margins down here by clicking on the bottom bar. So by default, if you start a Word document, typically it's going to start with that normal setting. So you can just click on that, and you will have your 1-inch margins established on your document. So we're good to go there. Now another aspect that the assignment talks about is putting in some information in the header and footer of your Word document. Now, a lot of times, people in the past, for a lot of my classes, they feel like if you just put in a line of information right at the very top or toward the bottom of your document, that actually is the header or footer. Well, it's actually not. The header or footer is going to reside actually in that top margin area or bottom margin area on your document. And the way you can actually create a header, which is on top, or the footer, which is on the bottom, is to come up here on top, and we'll do our header first. And you can actually just right-click in this area, in the margin area again. You'll see you get a shortcut menu that says Edit Header. So now you just click on that. Now it actually pops you into that header margin area. And now you can type out whatever you want to. So I'm just going to type out my name up here. And you can come back down to the main portion of the document, double-click. That takes you out of the header. And so now your name is still up there, but it's not really easily accessed. So again, you have to like either right click and go back into edit header, or you can double click in here and actually open up that header area, and then you can change it around if you want to. So you can certainly align things differently on this header. I can tab over if I want to, and put in some other information for this document in the header area. So very flexible how you can work with the header or footer areas. All right, so I got some header information I put into my document. And also I can come down the bottom portion, which again will be the footer, and I can establish this the same way. I can right click, choose edit footer, and here you maybe put in some information. It could be the date, so I will put in a date here. And again, you put in whatever information you want to in your footer area, similar to the header information. So again, I can double click on the main portion of the document, get out of that area. And it gives it a little different look as you get out and you're back in the main portion of the document. But at least that's able to be seen. So typically a lot of times you may put in information related to the file name, maybe page numbering information will be put down the footer portion of the document. It's a lot of different ways that you can approach what you want to put into those two areas. So again, it's usually just some extra information that's going to be put in there, available to the reader of your paper, of your flyer, or whatever you're creating in Microsoft Word. The last thing I'll take a look at here is the idea of doing an overall spell check on your document. So again, as you're typing something out into your document, the red squiggly lines will show up, or you'll get some autocorrect taking place as you work on your document. But if you want to do another overall spell check, you can always come into the Review tab. So I click on my Review tab, which is toward the right-hand side, my top portion of my bar, and you have your spelling and grammar checker button right here on the left side. So if I click on this, you'll take a quick look at your whole document, and if everything looks good, you'll get a message box like this indicating the spelling and grammar check is complete. So I'll then just go ahead and hit OK, and I'm off to the races. But this is always a good thing to do because if you've gone through and you've been working on your document and you've had some red squiggle lines show up, they indicate that there is some possible misspellings in your document or green squiggly lines of grammar, and you don't take the time to fix it on the fly, then once you're done, you can actually take a look at each one of these situations in your document, and it'll kind of take you through. You can correct the spelling mistakes you've got as you go through this, and also it'll take you to the grammar mistakes and allow you to make some changes to your sentences to make sure you're using proper grammar and you don't have any issues with that as you turn in papers for classes or anything else. Maybe you're using Microsoft Word for, maybe you're doing it for work or some other situation. So again, this video is just taking a look at some basic functionalities in Microsoft Word. We went over how to change the line spacing of a document from single or the default that you'll have when you open up the document to double line spacing. How to take away from the paragraph spacing between paragraphs, and by default you'll typically see 10-point spacing after a paragraph, so we took that away as we worked on this, and also took a look at the headers and footers and how to correct mistakes in a Microsoft Word document. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea how to attack and handle that 1 to 2 page paper you got to write this week. And again, certainly throughout the week, if you have any questions on writing this document or this first assignment for week 2 or the assignment for week 2, certainly contact your instructor, and he or she can kind of guide you into some other situations as you maybe come up with some particular problems as you work on this paper. But again, don't make it more difficult than it is. Again, just 1 or 2 pages, and you should do fine. So have a good week too, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks.